We welcome you to the SEC presented by Home Depot on CBS this afternoon. And it's attracted a small amount of attention. The Alabama Crimson Tide come into Sanford Stadium to take on the Bulldogs of Georgia. Hi once again, everybody. Vern Lundquist along with Gary Danielson. We welcome you inside Sanford Stadium. It has been raining throughout the Southeast, and rain will be a factor in today's game. Take a look at the forecast. We are expecting 3 to 5 inches of rain before this ball game is completed. For more on that, let's go down to Allie LaForce.
Vern and Gary, both coaches have told me the weather is a concern for their game plan today, specifically the turnover battle, but we have not seen any damage on the field just yet. Luckily, this is a sand-based field with drain tiles underneath and a stream that flows below the stadium, so any excess water is going to flow below it. It would take 2 to 3 inches of rain in one single hour for us to start to see any puddling. Now, the field could be quite slippery for the players today. Georgia considers this a serious advantage, though they're the only team in the SEC without an indoor practice facility. They practice in the rain, the sleet, the hail, the snow, so they're ready, and they hope that it will be an advantage for them today.
All right, Allie, thank you. Gary, we've reached the first week in October, nearly the midway point of the season. You get a sense neither of these teams exactly sure of who they are.
I think you're right, Vern, and I think it's for two different reasons. For Alabama, the flopping of quarterbacks in the turnover-filled game against Ole Miss, they're not exactly sure what style they want to play yet. They're still evolving. For Georgia, it's more about who they played than how Georgia's played, because Georgia's played really well, but today they go up a notch in competition, and about 3 hours from now, they will know for sure.
Well, we know one thing for certain. We're going to highlight two of the outstanding running backs in all of college football.
Yeah, I think it's the best matchup so far in 2015, head-to-head. Two of the premier running backs in college football, as you said. Derrick Henry, downhill, 240 pounds. He's going to slam you. Nick Chubb, he's strong as well. Just a bit more finesse. But I got a feeling it's going to be two other running backs that could decide this game. Third down backs, Kenyon Drake and Sony Michel. They'll line up all over this formation, and it'll give the defense problem trying to find where they are.
Give me your sense of how this game will be determined.
I know to beat Alabama, you have to win in the trenches. Georgia has to figure out a way to block that tremendous front seven that Alabama features. The Alabama offensive line has to become the Alabama offensive line we remember, because that's what will determine it. And oh, yeah, the quarterbacks, like usual. We got a couple guys, but I think the first one, Grayson Lambert, he's off to that tremendous second half. You know, he started off 8-19. Everybody's going, uh-oh. But 44 for 49 against no competition would be incredible. He'll have to be, I think, 17 for 23, something like that, I think, for Georgia to win. And on the other side, Jake Coker, I think it's finally his team now. Came in with passion in that second half against Ole Miss. Let's see if he can take Alabama on the road and win a big game.
Only the fifth time in the last 30 years that Alabama has come to Athens. The Home Depot SEC on CBS is sponsored by AT&T, Napa, Aflac, and by Chick-fil-A.
Sanford Stadium for a showdown between Alabama and Georgia. It's another football Saturday in the SEC. Volunteers, Razorbacks, Tigers, Gators, Commodores, Gamecocks, and Wildcats. You can hear our battle cry. Roll Eagle and Roll Tide. Bulldogs, Aggies, Rebels, and the like. From Rocky Top to College Station, yeah, we're one big country nation, that's right. It's the Tide versus the Dogs. The SEC on CBS. The best game from the best conference.
Well, this rain has not diminished the enthusiasm of any of these fans. We've got almost 90,000 on hand. Moments ago, Allie LaForce with Nick Saban.
Coach, you started off SEC play with a loss to Ole Miss, but this team has a great history of bouncing back from big losses. How do you expect them to respond today?
Well, you know, the formula we laid out for our team today can't be accomplished by ordinary people. So you got to be extraordinary. I think we got some extraordinary guys on our team, but they got to go out there and prove that they can do it against a good team.
You told us that you've emphasized turnovers more than ever this year. In weather conditions like this, how do you avoid another turnover late in game?
Well, you know, turnovers, kicking game, field position, big plays, you know, all those things are going to be a big factor in the game today. So we've got to do them all well.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you. Allie, thank you. Alabama won the toss, and they have elected to defer. That means Alabama will kick off. Georgia will go on offense. First game ever played in 1895. Last time these two teams played here, so significant, it was number 3 against number 8. And Alabama roared to a 31-0 halftime lead. They wound up winning at 41-30. That was in 2008. Here's Adam Griffin with the kick. Reggie Davis way back deep in the end zone. And that's a touchback. Well, let's introduce you to the Chick-fil-A starting lineups, beginning with the Georgia offensive line. It's a veteran bunch. Theus, Cubano, Pike, and Houston. The one first-year starter is Isaiah Wynn. And Malcolm Mitchell, the senior wideout, is having a terrific season. And here is Grayson Lambert. Gary?
Yeah, he might not have had a lot of big game competition this year, but remember, he's had big game competition at Virginia. Taking on Florida State is no small task. I think he's not going to be in awe of this Alabama defense.
On first down, play action. They're going to go deep, and they've got Malcolm Mitchell deep. Too far, wide right.
Yeah, the ball was just a bit late. Marlon Humphrey was beat on the play. There it is right there, the matchup. It's a bit of a stutter, but a quick stutter. And by the time Grayson Lambert threw the ball, he threw it short and late. Obviously, he could have thrown that ball just a little bit farther. Would have been easy completion, but wow, great game planning to start the game for Georgia.
That's only the third incompletion. Here's Chubb coming right and not getting much. Alabama defensively, and boy, are they tough against the run. It's Robinson, Payne, and Reed up front. Reggie Ragland leads this team in tackles. He's got 14 more than the second, and a new starter replacing Reuben Foster, Sean Dion Hamilton. Third down 10.
And by the time you read it off, they already had their dime package.
I knew that was going to happen. Out of the gun, right side, caught by Mitchell. Stretches for the first down. I don't know. No, I don't think so.
There's a touchback, so he has to get it to the 35-yard line. Stop to the outside. Nice avoidance of the first tackle. Stretches it out, but you have to get it to the line. Fourth and about less than a yard.
Cyrus Jones is deep to return the anticipated punt, which will be towed by Colin Barber. He's a senior, number 32. And here is Cyrus Jones, likewise a senior cornerback for the Crimson Tide. Nathan Theus, whose younger brother John is the starting left tackle, is the snapper. But returnable to the 31-yard line. How about that? The snapper Nathan Theus was down to make the tackle. And the Chick-fil-A starting lineups. Wait for the cow to burp. Robinson Hirschbaker, the freshman. Ryan Kelly has been there, I think, for 7 years.
It seems like it.
Veteran center and a really good one. And Richard Mullaney is a transfer from Oregon State. And he has become a favored receiver, usually in the slot. Derrick Henry's the running back on first down. They go from the spread. Coker is the wide out. They hand it off to Henry, and he finds 5, and he's belted up high by Tim Kimbrough and Lorenzo Carter.
It's amazing, Vern, visiting with the players. We got to talk to the Georgia players, and Jordan Jenkins said, I just can't wait to play in a game where I can go up, I know who's going to get the ball, and I can hit somebody.
Gain of 3. O.J. Howard is split wide right. They come to the near side. It's caught by Calvin Ridley, a true freshman. Robert Foster was the injured wide receiver. Ridley's come on and taken his place. Defensively now, Trenton Thompson, 5-star recruit, for whatever that means, is going to get his first start today. You see Mays, Bailey, Floyd. Jacob Gaines is a transfer from UAB at middle linebacker. They come to the near side, and that's enough to move the chain. Loose ball.
I think that ball squirted out. Well, Gaines thinks the Bulldogs have it.
There's going to be a huddle first.
Alabama thinks Georgia has it as well.
Well, Allie just talked to Nick Saban about turnovers. In their loss 2 weeks ago, this Alabama team turned it over 5 times to none for Ole Miss.
Yes, but one of the staples for Alabama, and we've watched them for a long time. I don't know if his knee was down or not. It's pretty close. Was his knee? It's a big play early in the game. One of the staples I was going to say is the running backs usually don't turn the ball over.
Chubb. He's going to work for every yard today. And take another look, Gary, at the last play, the turnover.
I guess that ball was coming out. I couldn't really see the knee and the ball coming out at the exact same time.
Play action into the flat. Incomplete. Yep. Intended for Glenn Welch, number 46.
Yeah, a staple play for Georgia. They've had it for as long as I can remember. You fake the tailback and you slip the fullback into the flat, and that's basically a running play for Georgia and a missed running play. That was should be an easy pitch and catch. That should be almost a 95% completion play.
Well, that is the second interception of the ball game, equaling the number of incomplete passes Lambert has thrown, and that catch is made inside the 40. Terry Godwin, number 5, gets the start at the slot.
Well, I actually thought if Cyrus Jones would have looked for the ball, he could have easily intercepted that. He ran underneath it. He knew he was short of the first down, and the ball was just a little high. He looked at it, saw it being high. Had that ball been the right height, he could have intercepted. Very fortunate for Georgia to get out of there. And a great stop for that Alabama defense after the turnover.
Colin Barber for the second time. Cyrus Jones is at the 10. Fair catch taken at the 12. A little bump with Cyrus Jones and a Georgia defender. Early first quarter, family was honored and introduced during the break. For more on this injury, let's go down to Allie LaForce.
Thank you, Vern. It was a very touching moment. His family standing on the sidelines, getting a loud roar and standing ovation from this Georgia crowd. From the very moment Gales was injured, the Bulldogs have done everything in their power to help him recover. Coach Rick, the players, they all visited him when he was in the Athens Regional Medical Center. The university even flew his parents out to make sure that they could be with their son. And recently, the university president made a large donation to the Devon Gales Fund. It's for long-term health care for any needs he might have in the future, just to do anything they can to help him and his family.
All right, Allie, you see that the Georgia football team wearing Gales number 33.
I come right back to Henry and give him the ball.
Henry is the lone setback, and they do. He goes right and gets out near the 20.
You know, Vern, we talked about how, yes, Alabama, everybody turns the ball over, but Alabama infrequently turns the ball over with their top 2 running backs. Since 2009, Alabama's played 99 games. And the running backs, the first or the second running back, Ingram, Richardson, Lacey, T.J. Yeldon, have carried the ball 2,470 times with only 16 fumbles. They very rarely fumble the ball with a running play.
Kenyon Drake is the man in motion now. He is number 17, the backup tailback. And they feed him the ball. He goes right, and it's going to be close. Not quite enough for the first down, and Leonard Floyd, number 84, makes the tackle.
Been watching Kenyon since the time he was a scout team runner in practice at Alabama. He's caught my eye. We were a part of his terrible injury a year ago. It's great to see him playing football again.
3rd down 1, Derrick Henry back, and he lines up behind Jacob Coker. Henry, no. Tim Kimbrough, second big tackle he's made.
Floyd is the first guy that crosses, and then Kimbrough fills it in. Watch Leonard Floyd, number 84. He makes the pile, and Kimbrough shoots the gap. 2 big wins. I tell you, you know, this Georgia defense and every one of their teammates since that SEC championship in 2012 has been rubbing their nose in the fact that Alabama ran the ball at them, and they know they have to stop or at least control that running game if they have any chance in this football game.
There's J.K. Scott, All-American punter as a freshman a year ago. Not having that great of a year statistically. This one is high and very short, and a diving try by Isaiah McKenzie. He muffed it. Now, did he fall on it? He did. Georgia ball.
Really love the aggressiveness of McKenzie here. Aggressively goes and makes the play. If that ball hits the ground, it could roll 10 or 15 yards. You don't upset big-time teams by playing it safe.
All on that. And then 4 games in the 1 o'clock slot. Cleveland at San Diego is the late game. It all begins with JB and the quartet. They have a long day tomorrow. They'll be on the air at 9 a.m. at 12:30. The NFL Today presented by Southwest Airlines. And after muffing that last punt, Isaiah McKenzie has a conversation with Mark Richt. Earlier this week, McKenzie was involved in an off-the-field incident when he is alleged to have made threatening remarks to a fellow female student. Police closed the case when the accuser declined to pursue criminal charges. So he's getting a little comfort from his teammates after that misplay. Right side, Chubb. On average per game, Alabama yields 58 yards on the ground. No team has rushed for 100 against them this year.
And that's pretty much the story that this Nick Saban defense has been designed to stop that tailback downhill running game. Kirby Smart is calling the signals again for Nick.
Defensive coordinator, quick flip out left. Terry Godwin, he's got speed if he can get loose. And he is thrown out of bounds. Eddie Jackson with the tackle.
Matching up with this Nick Saban defense is Brian Schottenheimer, who's been dueling against this Saban defense even from the NFL. When he was with the Jets, he faced him. The Miami Dolphin version of this defense is the same one. He said it's the same style, not obviously the same players, but same style, and he says he thinks he knows how to attack it.
3rd and 5, 4-man rush. Lambert in trouble. Tucks it, runs. He'll be way short of the first down, and one of the sideline chain gang guys is upended. Reggie Ragland, first man there.
Yeah, he was the first man to make the tackle, but he's also the guy that stopped the play to begin with. They were trying to get a crossing route. He takes the crossing route away and then forces the quarterback to run and makes the tackle. Big-time play by Ragland.
Colin Barber on to punt for the 3rd time. There's Ragland, and this is the 3rd straight 3 and out to open the game.
Well, yes, but then Alabama has their regular defense still on the field. They're playing it safe.
4th and 1. Here is the punt. Nice and high. Cyrus Jones will let it go, and doesn't hop. It goes into the end zone. Touchback. 8 minutes, 33 seconds remaining in what is thus far a scoreless first quarter. Quarter before this is over, we expect Kenyon Drake to have a big role. It's time to feature him as we look at our Home Depot tools for success.
Well, like Sony Michel for Georgia, Kenyon Drake stresses the defense because he can line up anywhere. In the huddle, you don't know if he's going to be a wide receiver like this first play a year ago against Florida, where he ran a slant and go to in the slot for the jet sweep to the outside. And of course, he has great speed, or at running back, and he takes the ball for the inside sweep. So you've got a lot of versatility between, and it's the way Alabama likes to feature their offense. 2 running backs, one guy a hammer, the other guy more of a finesse guy. Both of them are in there now.
And Drake will go to the slot right side. Derrick Henry is the running back. Ardarius Stewart, number 13, split to the left side. Coker fakes the give, wide open down the right side. That's Calvin Ridley, the freshman. He's loose and slips at the 29-yard line.
This was a run-pass option that the quarterback, Jake Coker, decided to throw it on. The other part of the team, as you watch Ridley, is running a running play. Coker reads the cornerback and says, all right, you 9 guys can have a running play. I'm going to throw it. I'm sorry, Vern. That's the new phase of what's giving fits to these defensive teams in college football.
Well, that was a gain of 50, and it sets up a first down at the 30. Calvin Ridley, as we mentioned, Robert Foster, wide receiver, out with a shoulder injury, and Ridley gives them an equal amount of talent, perhaps even a touch more. Well, he's 18 catches so far.
And you can see, if Alabama fans are noticing, that he's playing X-receiver. Until this game, he had been staying on just one side of the field. Now he's playing both sides, and he's actually playing the position that Julio Jones and Amari Cooper has played for years here.
Whatever happened to Julio Jones?
Yeah, he's doing all right.
Number 71, 5-yard penalty.
Motion call on Ross Pierschbacher, redshirt freshman. Last year it was pronounced Pierschbacher. And Eli Gold, the outstanding radio voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, told me before the game that he was a shy freshman and only this year established as a starter did he say, fellas, it's pronounced Pierschbacher.
Let me do something before I do it.
Yeah, exactly. Second down. Play action, Coker. Got a man open. Nice catch. Richard Mullaney, the senior transfer from Oregon State. That's a gain of 24.
I was just about to say that Jake was a bit slow with the throw, but actually he threw it so well because I thought he was open right about there. And he throws it about 2 steps later, but a perfect throw and a better catch.
Well, that's a transfer quarterback, Coker, who started at Florida State, to a transfer for slot receiver, Mullaney, who finished at Oregon State. First and goal. 2 big passes. Delayed handoff to Henry. Flag down. Hubert Owens is our referee today.
Illegal formation. Offense.
That was
5 in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
That is twice that Alabama tried to use a hurry up after a big play, and they ended up having penalties. That time they had the backs not set right before they had an illegal procedure. If you're going to do the hurry up, you got to be disciplined. There are advantages, but there are pitfalls as well.
marked back to the 15. Still first and goal. 6:35 to go in the opening quarter. Two wides to the left side. Georgia looks like they might be blitzing, and they are on the run, and they go up the middle. Derrick Henry gets the 5 back plus a couple tacked on.
Yeah.
And take a look at the Verizon red zone stats for Alabama. 15 touchdowns out of 19 trips inside the red zone. That's well above the national average. Kenyon Drake back on the field. Second and goal just inside the 10.
Henry's having problems with his helmet.
Here's Drake and Henry alongside Coker. Drake on the sweep.
Defense.
Yep, sure was. Wow. Tim Kimbrough again.
But the edge was set on the outside that time. Once you set the edge, you can turn it back inside. I think right there the edge was set. I wonder if it was Gaines.
It was.
Jake Gaines, number 51, refuses to be blocked, turns it back inside, and then Kimbrough makes the play.
Jake Gaines, a transfer from the University of Alabama because of their decision.
That's going to be 12 men on the field.
And another flag.
Yeah, that's going to be 12 men in the huddle.
Illegal substitution
Yep.
on the offense. 12 players in the formation. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
Once that player crosses the numbers, and it happened to Tennessee a week ago. Remember when the player just crossed the numbers, and it was almost a disaster. Fortunately, there it is, see? Across the numbers right there, that's 12 men in the huddle. Whoever was wrong, it doesn't matter. Once 12 guys are inside the numbers, it's a penalty.
So third and goal. Nice winder, number 46 is on the field to the left. Henry up the middle, fourth down.
Well, in my humble opinion, Alabama got a little bit acute in that way. They've been successful when they've been knowing what they're going to do. They've been successful. They tried to go no huddle, no hurry up, no huddle, and it did not work for them.
Adam Griffin is on for the field goal attempt, not having a great year. He's only 3 of 7. Cooper Bateman is the holder. This from 29 yards out. Alabama's first on the board, but not what they thought they might get out of this drive. They had a 50-yard pass and a 29-yard pass, but they also had 2 penalties. Griffin from 29. Nick Saban. 3-zip. Spent a little time with him a year ago, and he is indeed a crimson and white fan. And the crimson and white lead it 3-0. Griffith with the field goal. Reggie Davis is deep. Sony Michel, whom we've not seen in the first 3 series for Georgia, is also back there. This one returnable. It's Reggie Davis. Oh, nice open field special teams tackle. Short of the 20, but not by much. Ronnie Harrison. And Allie LaForce is behind the Alabama bench. Allie?
Thank you, Vern. Alabama is always on top of the new sports technology, but this is a new one that I've never seen before. Right behind me are 2 oxygen tanks that the team traveled with. The offensive linemen are sitting on their bench listening to coach, catching their breath, and they're actually taking in oxygen so they can be more efficient the next time out. Pretty amazing.
I bet they weren't carry-on. First down 10. Sony Michel is now on the field. Lambert hands it to him. Nice spin. Wow.
Well, he's not the pounding every down back. He's just used differently. Against South Carolina, he only had 11 touches in that game, but he had 87 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's valuable. He's like a third down back. Keeps the defense off balance with his versatility.
And you'll see him split out wide numerous times this afternoon. 2nd down and 3, safety blitz. Here's Michelle struggling. Did he get? Looks like the spot will be just short. Well,
yep.
What do you think? Jonathan Allen made the tackle.
Kind of a bobbled handoff. And again, what Alabama does as well, and all through Nick Saban's career as a defensive coach, set the edge.
On 3rd down, he appears to have it.
Yep, the first down of the game for Georgia.
Yep.
And, they've had opportunities. It's been a few wild throws from Lambert. The plays have been there. The quarterback so far has missed a couple.
And recall that he came in with a hot hand. Here are the 3 previous possessions. Lambert, brilliant against South Carolina. And then he continued that in last week's win, but erratic today. 1st down and 10. Play fake. Goes deep. Malcolm Mitchell is there. Has it. 1st down in between 2 defenders. 2nd time they've gone for the home run. This time they hit it.
Malcolm Mitchell so aggressive on this route. Watch how aggressive he is against the defender for Alabama, Humphrey. He just rips his arms away from him and runs inside of the seam, and you can't throw it any better than that. That's the type of ability you have to throw to hit those precise balls to throw the ball against Alabama.
Gain of 36. Toss. Michelle gets a block, but they can't block from the backside as the tackle is made by Darren Payne, number 94. No gain. 2nd down 10. Mark Richt in his 15th year as the head coach at Georgia. Malcolm Mitchell wide to the left. They're up to play bump and run. He's defended by Cyrus Jones. Lambert will take off. Well, nice run.
Aggressive again. Another one of those plays. That's the 2nd run by Grayson Lambert. Remember, he had a short run 4 or 5 yards earlier in the game. This time he takes no sliding on this one. He's out to send a message to his team that every
3rd down 1. Nick Chubb replaces Sony Michel. Chubb so far has carried 3 times for only 5 yards. He's going after his 13th consecutive 100-yard game against a team that doesn't want him to accomplish that. Needless to say. Timeout.
First charge, timeout.
Georgia. We'll call time when we come back. Bulldogs facing 3rd and 1. Down 1 here. They hand it off to Chubb. Gets the line moving to the south. That's going to be a 1st down. Well, Grayson Lambert trying to accomplish something significant, and that is beating Alabama.
Well, we talk about every facet of the game. You never know what's going to have to happen to win, but one thing's for sure, you have to be precise in your passing game. Remember, it started all the way back with Steven Garcia, his hot game, all the way to Cam Newton the 2nd half of 2010. These guys had great games against Alabama. It's man-to-man. They're challenging you to throw the ball.
Here's Chubb struggling. Mentioned that he's going after his 13th consecutive 100-yard game. That would equal the record held by Herschel Walker, who was in the house today.
Yeah, but that's the type of struggling you have to be satisfied with if you're running the ball against Alabama. I mean, you need those 4-yard gains. It's not pretty all the time. You just make it 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6, and that's a success. You have to be willing to be patient in the run game and then take your spots in the passing game. You know what you're getting, man-to-man coverage.
Chubb is the running back. They bunch up to the left side. Chubb gets it. Then stutter step at the line. 2 yards. It'll be 3rd down. Jaron Reed, number 90th, first man there.
Great matchup in this game. The defensive tackles for Alabama and the offensive guards for Georgia. Really strong men.
That's the end of the first. Alabama leads it 3-0. We'll return to Athens after this message and a word from your local station. We welcome you back to the second quarter. Alabama and Georgia from Sanford Stadium in Athens. The rain has increased in volume. 3-0 here, third down and 3. Georgia trailing by 3. And Sony Michel is alongside Grayson Lambert. No longer. 3 to the right side. 4-man rush across the middle. Caught! No, he didn't. It was stripped. Malcolm Mitchell.
Good, well defended that time. Pretty good thrown ball. Went to their go-to guy. They bumped off to the outside. But a better defensive play that time. You make those type of plays on defense, that's exactly how you can win a game. You play man-to-man tight, and you get aggressive. That time it was Gino Mateus-Smith, the safety, that made the play.
Marshall Morgan, long for the year, is 47. This attempt to tie it up is from 35 yards out. Perfect. There is a flag.
Uh-oh. If it's against Alabama, it's going to be a first down.
Yes, it will.
Personal foul. Roughing the snapper. Defense number 90. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
It was roughing the snapper.
Yes.
Yeah, you cannot get this line up and hit the snapper head on. He's a protected player. Right in the middle right there. They attack, knock him back. And when you're trying to, it was Jaron Reed, number 90, you could see him push through, try to get his hand up. But that was called roughing the snapper.
They'll take the 3 off the board.
I got to be honest, I don't know exactly. It looked to me like he went to the side of him and not directly over his head.
They give up the 35-yard tying field goal. They hand it off. Michel with a stiff-off and a double team on the tackle.
Yeah, but Alabama's going to send it back with a holding on Darren Payne, number 94 that time. Let's go back and look at the field goal again. In the middle right there. Jaron Reed, number 90. His hand into the face mask, I think, was the call. Even though he went to the edge, hand to the face mask probably was what the call was. But on the very next play, Darren Payne, number 94, forced the hold for the penalty.
Call is a face mask penalty. First down and goal, but all the way back at the 23-yard line. Chubb is back on the field. Lambert chased by Reed.
Oh, slipped out of his hand.
Loose ball. Still loose. Georgia gets it. Greg Pike, the right guard.
Well, we've seen a little of this ball slipping out of quarterbacks' hands, haven't we? We've seen guys that take their gloves off. Jeremy Johnson had to take a glove off, but this time, as Vern told you, the rain is getting a little stronger, and on that one, Lambert had it slip right out, and Alabama was very fortunate to get it back. This drive's going the wrong direction.
And keep in mind, there was a 35-yard field goal successfully attempted. That was a loss of 7, and it's now second and goal from the 30. Michel comes near side. Lambert looks that way. Now they try to set up a screen pass.
Messed up from the beginning. Malcolm Mitchell didn't know where to line up. They had a late motion to try to set up a screen pass, and it never got out of the way. This has been a disaster drive for Georgia. They're in their own way, and Alabama, remember, aggressive with the first play, forcing the penalty, and then from then on, they got it. This might be Alabama's second best drive of the game, but it's with their defense.
3rd and goal.
Remember, this field goal from here would be 53 yards.
Yes.
They took 3 points off the board.
They rush 3, drop 8. Lambert steps up. He'll keep it. Rolls out. Now he's got.
Oh, he got it. Oh,
The
my.
catch is made by Terry Godwin. But it's 4th down.
But it's in position for a field goal, because if that ball's incomplete, it's going to be very difficult to kick a 53-yarder. How about that play by Lambert?
So here is Marshall Morgan for the 2nd time.
Alabama has seen enough crazy plays on scrambling quarterbacks to last a lifetime,
Oh
haven't
my
they?
gosh. Yes. This one from 27. Fatone Bauta, the 3rd-string quarterback, is the holder, and Nathan Theus, the snapper. And
boy, this is very difficult for Georgia to get this field goal kicked, isn't it?
Georgia.
that's their 2nd time out. 1 left. Urine has enhanced its status with this one. 1967. Was Lee Corso the coach then?
No, I think it was Johnny Pond.
You're right. Very good.
Well, that might have been their Rose Bowl year.
I think it was. Testing both of them.
I wondered the timeout that there wasn't a look that Coach Rick didn't want a fake field goal called. And that's why he took the timeout.
Here's the kick. Well, it took them a long time.
Yeah, but it was an impressive stop by the Alabama defense. Grayson Lambert had that big 3rd down throw, but considering the penalty and everything to hold him to 3 points, I think that's a win for that Bama defense.
CBS Sports will continue after this message and a word from your local station. Look at that last Georgia drive, Gary. Some interesting events.
Yeah, after the field goal was made with the penalty by Alabama, then coming back on 1st down, Georgia has a penalty. Then we had the ball slip out of Lambert's hand, which almost was a turnover. And then on 3rd and long, Grayson scrambles out, and what would have been a 53-yard field goal had he not completing that ball right there ends up being a chip shot. So a lot happened, and the ball moved like 6 yards.
And took a lot of time.
It took a lot of time.
Well, it's a rainy day in Georgia. That's a variation of the old Brooke Benton song. But for some folks, it just doesn't matter. We got a full house here, and Morgan will kick off.
Both teams seems to understand that they have to protect the ball. It's going to be tough to run it, and they want to pick their spots when they throw it. Predominantly been a running game.
Only 1 turnover thus far. That was early in the game. And it was a fumble by Derrick Henry. Recovered by Georgia, but they couldn't go anywhere with it. And here is the kick. At the 5. Whoa, big tackle. Big tackle. Well, in the rain, we bring you Alabama and Georgia, and it appears to me that it's show and tell time.
No,
Huh?
It's one of those games. We started out with a trench.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I mean, this is one of these, we call this a 4 chin strap game. You got to have 4 buckles, tighten them all up. Even Vern, you have to tighten them all up because it's going to be physical throughout the whole game. Most impressive player on the field right now, besides Vern, as I believe, is Malcolm Mitchell. He has come to play, and Vern is playing with the chin strap.
Sometimes you got to talk injured. 1st and 10. Kenyon Drake gets the handoff, follows the lead block into the secondary. Nice run.
Positive play again.
Wow.
Picks his way, moves around, different style. Well, we talked about Kirby Smart running the defense for Alabama. There's Jeremy Pruitt. He was at Alabama for many of the years when Nick Saban built this program. He's being shielded by the ball boys to make sure that no one steals the signals. But I can tell you what, the style of the Georgia defense is about the same as the Alabama defense. Same calls, same style, very similar.
Kelvin Drake still in the lineup, and he gets the handoff. Works his way left and then forward. Tim Kimbrough. Well, Jeremy Pruitt was at Alabama for 6 years. Was essentially a defensive back before he became a coach there. Spent 2 years as a player and then the defensive back coach under Saban. They were together at the University of Alabama. Then Jeremy Pruitt took the head defensive coordinator job. Here's the third down play at Florida State. He was there for 1 year, and he's now in his second season under Mark Richt. Fun chatting with him yesterday.
I'll tell you, yes, and I don't think if Kenyon Drake had not come from behind on that play and pushed the pile from his tailback spot, I don't know if on that play if Jake Coker would have made it.
Of the 35-yard line. Derrick Henry back in the backfield. 3 wides to the left side. Georgia showing 4 down. Play action. Coker under some pressure. Evades the tackle. Finds a receiver. That's Calvin Ridley with another big catch. This one on first down.
Well, you got to give this again. First of all, good pressure by that Georgia defense. Forced Coker out of the pocket before he wanted to throw the football. But then he took the easy throw. He had a couple of guys deep that would have been a bit of a gamble, but he took the easy first down throw. And I believe Lane Kiffin is loving what he's seeing. His quarterback's off to a great start.
Right side, Derrick Henry across the 50. Jake Gaines made the tackle.
Well, remember, I've talked about that Georgia defense is the Nick Saban style, and Lane Kiffin is the other ex-NFL guy attacking the defense. We've got an NFL coordinator, ex-experienced coordinators on both sides of the sideline calling plays against really an NFL-designed defense.
Second down 9. Coker 4 of 4 in the ball game for 94 yards. Got 4 wides. Kenyon Drake is in the slot to the right side. Now he'll move. Coker backs up. Got him open down the right side, left side. It's Richard Mullaney, number 16.
I thought for sure he was going to throw this ball to Kenyon Drake and take the easy throw, and so did George. Bites on it. Boy, Jake Coker must have used his eyes to move Dominic Sanders out of the way, because Sanders thought he had that ball going to the back, and Coker throws it and gets rid of it just before Bailey levels it.
Gain of 17. Derrick Henry to the 30-yard line. Well, the Coker story is an interesting one. He was recruited by Alabama, and he wound up signing with Florida State, where, according to Jeremy Pruitt, the competition with him and Jameis Winston was very close.
Yeah.
But he lost the starting spot, elected to transfer.
I'd have to put that guy under oath before I believe that one.
Up the middle, huge. Henry, untouched. Touchdown, Alabama Crimson Tide.
Hauser, that's exactly what I was thinking right there. The Georgia defense was handling it, and then all of a sudden, Alabama blocks it the way everybody remembers it being blocked. Ryan Kelly gets a great block, and actually Jake Gaines runs himself out of the play on that one. Over pursues it on one cut by Henry, and it's a touchdown.
Adam Griffin for the extra point. That was impressive. 76 yards, 8 plays.
Your guy, Ross Piercebaker, did a nice job as well. 71. Watch him delay, and then block. Timmy Kimbrough, number 42, comes off and turns Kimbrough to the outside. Enough for Henry to break the line of scrimmage, and no one, as Vern said, even touches him.
Alabama's impressive drive gives them a 10-3 lead. We're back in Athens, Georgia. Never miss a moment of college football with the CBS Sports app. Every play, every story, and every highlight right as they happen. Download the CBS Sports app now. (10-3). Adam Griffith kicks it deep. Reggie Davis will return it out to the 23-yard line.
Vern, some of the parents for the other offensive linemen have dialed me up and say, please give us some love. Actually, they all did a great job. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 offensive linemen right across the board. All 5 of them, Robertson, Piercebaker, Kelly, Taylor, and Jackson. All 5 perfectly blocked the play. And remember, you talked about Alabama looking for their identity. You know, it works pretty good when your quarterback has completed every pass he's tried and the offensive line goes 5 for 5. You got a quarterback 5 for 5 and an offensive line that blocks it 5 for 5 on one play.
Helpful. 8:20 to go, first half. Here's Grayson Lambert. Nobody open. He'll try to get out of bounds and does. Chased by Reggie Ragland, number 19. Well, Lambert's story, many of you know it, perhaps not all. He transferred from the University of Virginia. He started 9 games there last year, lost the starting spot in the spring, graduated with a degree in anthropology, and took advantage of the rule that allows you to come and do an extra. He's actually got 2 years left.
Free agent.
Yes.
Free agent.
2nd down and 6. That's a throwaway. Terry Godwin was in the neighborhood.
They actually double teamed Jonathan Allen that time, number 93, and neither guy handled him. And as soon as Lambert saw him zeroing in on him, he had to throw the ball away.
It's good to be a quarterback in the SEC, as we've seen.
Well,
because Lambert's girlfriend is going to be crowned Miss Georgia at halftime. She got the spot because I'm not sure. Yeah! That's dropped. Well defended. Allie's going to update us on the ceremony that's going to happen at halftime. Allie?
Bert, this is another one of my areas of expertise. I can help you out on this one.
Thank you.
She's being crowned Miss Georgia because Miss Georgia won Miss America on national television, so her first runner-up becomes the new Miss Georgia for the year and takes over her duties as Miss Georgia.
Those words coming from a former Miss Teenage America, by the way, whose mother has made her way into our broadcast. She said, enough with the ring. There's the punt. Colin Barber, 31-yard punt. Alabama has the lead, 10-3 here, 7:34 to go first half. And Alabama with a 7-point lead.
Give a little warning. I followed Lane Kiffin for a long time. He's running the ball well. His quarterback is throwing the ball 5 for 5. He's just gashed him. Alabama does not throw a lot of deep balls. Okay, look at Jay Coker. 1 for 13 on balls 20 yards downfield. I think a little warning light should go off for Georgia right now. This is where Lane Kiffin likes to go for the throat.
Well, he's got the freshman Calvin Ridley, number 3, on the field.
And if he could obviously dial at any time, but just be very aware if you're Georgia. And this drive, I got to believe he's going to go deep one of these plays.
Ridley and Mulaney are to the right side. Here's the motion in the backfield. Jet sweep. It's our Darius. They stayed home and got him. Jonathan Abram was the first man there.
Well, you're just trying to get to the outside any way you can, and the new way. It's funny, you watch Alabama so many years. They do play differently. This is not the same style that they played, when building this franchise. It's been a bit different with Lane Kiffin.
Second down 9. Derrick Henry in the backfield. Henry gets it.
Oh.
He's popped as he gets near the 48-yard line. Leonard Floyd, number 84. Haven't called his name much here in the first half.
No, well, and he found that playing inside linebacker is a little different than playing outside linebacker. As again, Bama goes a hurry up on 3rd and medium.
3rd and 6. Here's Coker. Oh, he got him.
Beautiful.
Ardarius Stewart.
He dropped it.
Oh, he did. Looked like he had possession. Dominic Sanders defending.
The ball was maybe a half a yard behind Stewart. Should have been caught. Caught Georgia in outflanked, and across comes Sanders and makes the play. This ball should have been caught, should have been held on, and should have been a first down. But Georgia dodges one. The hurry up that time worked and caught the Georgia defense very flat-footed on that play.
Here's J.K. Scott, a 48-yard average a year ago with a net punt of 44.5. And he's under 40 this season. But there we go. Oh, can he stop it? No, he can't. Well, we came on the air talking about the outstanding running backs for each team.
Yeah, and the Alabama defense has done obviously a much better job on Chubb. They have bottled him up. He has not had any space. Henry started out a bit slow, but then finally when the passing game opened up, then they hammered him with the running game. 5 good blocks on that play. One of the prettiest plays Alabama blocked that I've seen in a while, and they gashed him for the big touchdown.
Under Nick Saban, there have been only 10 running backs who have exceeded 100 yards. Here's 2 flags thrown. Nick Chubb right now, you just saw 6 for 13. Here's Hubert Owens.
Four-star offense, number 75, 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Colton Houston, the right tackle.
And I'll tell you, this everybody talks about, this Alabama team, and we talked about ourselves, is what's their identity? Well, there may be some question marks about what their identity is. I know what they do have. They've got about 9 guys that can play that front 4 position. They keep rolling them and rolling them and rolling them. Robinson, Allen, Lake, Payne, Reed, Tomlinson, Petway, they just keep rolling in fresh bodies.
After the penalty, not much there. Well, it is a perfect day for the Duck. And it's time for the Aflac trivia question. Who are the 5 SEC running backs to win the Heisman Trophy? There were 5, have been 5. Answer coming up. Second down, 14. Malcolm Mitchell. Now Sony Michel joins him left side, 3 wides to the right, including the tight end. And the pocket breaks down. The pass. Oh my goodness.
It's going to hurt.
Reggie Ragland. Oh dear.
And it was a clean hit. Ragland put the shoulder in the target area. He did not headhunt at all. Comes across and puts the shoulder exactly the way the college football is trying to get it taught. We all get frustrated sometimes when we think they're playing physical football and they go a little too far, but that's the goal, to play just like that, especially with what happened a week ago here. This is a very dangerous game, and these players all need to be safe when they play it, as safe as possible.
Lambert. Safety valve, Michelle, who's hit immediately. That's Reuben Foster, number 10.
Well, Reuben Foster was a 5-star linebacker that we saw the last couple of years on kickoff coverage. Well, now he's earned his way onto the field in the dime and nickel situation, and he's got speed to make up territory. And he did a great job in that middle linebacker spot that time.
That brings on Colin Barber, 5th punt in the first half. Cyrus Jones for Alabama at the 45-yard line. Oh, they come after it. They blocked it. Touchdown, Alabama. Minkah Fitzpatrick, number 29.
Well, that's about as calmly Minkah Fitzpatrick takes it on the run and just calmly runs it into the end zone.
That is the second blocked punt this year.
They're called knots, Vern. You know what those are?
No.
Non-offensive touchdowns. They usually turn a football game.
Dazzlingly weakly. Extra point is up and good. Minkah Fitzpatrick, number 29, a true freshman out of Old Bridge, New Jersey.
He's the third guy in. Watch how clean he comes. No one touches him. The ball bounces up and he walks in.
And like that, it's 17-3. Crimson Tide lead. Special teams play, block punt, Minkah Fitzpatrick. And it's 17-3 with 4:48 to go before the break. At the goal line, Reggie Davis. Flag is thrown. And while they sort it out, let's check in on a weather update with Allie LaForce.
Thank you, Vern. We started this quarter with one of the heaviest downfalls of rain that we've seen in this game, but now it's barely raining at all, just sprinkling. Alabama's doing things to help with the rain. They have managers running around digging out the turf from the players' cleats. Also, everyone on offense is covering up their hands with the towels just to make sure the gloves don't get slippery. But Georgia's not doing much at all. They don't seem to be affected by it in any way.
All right, Allie, thank you. And here is the updated forecast. We're entering a period of 50% chance.
Right, I'm kind of hoping that 7:30 p.m. is for when I'm driving home. I don't like a lot of rain when I'm driving home.
No. 17-3, 4:43 to go in the first half. Handoff right side. Nick Chubb gets a few. That's his 7th carry.
Well, this Alabama defense, excuse me, Vern, has basically been designed to stop this style of football. The tailback 7 yards back. I've been kind of doing these interviews all week, and I said, if Georgia can run the ball with that tailback right behind there, and Alabama knowing how they're going to run it and do it effectively, it'll set off alarm clocks and alarm bells for this Alabama team. But you know what? They have it. 36 yards so far.
Here's Lambert chased. He does get rid of it. That was Dalvin Tomlinson, who almost got him for a safety.
Yes, and the danger right now is, remember, Alabama won the toss, deferred. So now they could get the ball here at the end of the first half and get the ball to start the second half. Out of the pocket, all the ball has to do is cross the line of scrimmage, and that was accomplished.
Third down. Lambert batted backwards. Jonathan Allen got his hands up and knocked this one down.
And Alabama knocks down a lot of passes. I read a great quote as they push. And because they don't run a lot of games, they push straight ahead. They have the ability to see when the quarterback is going to throw the ball. Dalvin Tomlinson had one of the great quotes I saw. He says, how do you knock down so many passes? He says, what I do is, when I see him throwing, I put my hands up. That seems to work.
Yep. Pass rush 101. Cyrus Jones on the punt. And let's reintroduce the Duck after that 36-yard punt. This is a pretty good one. Who are the 5 SEC running backs to win the Heisman Trophy? The answers, I wonder if you've got all 5. At the top, Frank Sinkwich, Billy Cannon. Along the bottom, Herschel Walker, Bo Jackson, and Mark Ingram. John David Crow and George Rogers both won the Heisman, but it was before either A&M or South Carolina entered the SEC. Alabama has all 3 timeouts left. And they've got a first down at the 45.
Georgia defense must have a stop.
Play action. Coker looks deep into double coverage. He's got a man wide open. It's Calvin Ridley, and it's another touchdown for Alabama.
You knew it was coming. Once Alabama gets the offense rolling, they love to go deep. They've been doing it for 8 years. The only thing missing on that one is Lane Kiffin didn't put his arms up signaling a touchdown before the ball was caught. Remember, they moved Ridley into the Amari Cooper spot, and the same plays that Julio Jones and Amari Cooper have run is now the spot that the new freshman is running, Calvin Ridley.
Adam Griffin for the extra point.
Quincy Mauger is the safety. He takes one false step. When he turns, he rotates back. He turns one time. When he spins, he cannot get the speed. They rotated the safeties with the motion. When the motion moved, Mauger took one turn and could not get up the speed. A perfect throw.
Jacob Coker is now 7 of 8 for 158 yards. Lane Kiffin is rather pleased. Just like that, 24-3. 45-yard touchdown pass. Here is the boot. And it will be taken by Reggie Davis. Let's go back and look at the touchdown.
And this is why I like sometimes calling plays in the huddle and not going fast. Look at the beautiful design here. A man goes in motion. One man goes in motion, then the defense has to adjust. When the defense adjusts, you take one false step, they turn the wrong way, and then you've got the opportunity to the big play. Fast motion, quick play action, and then you put one other thing, your 5-star receiver on a safety. And that's coaching, and that's design, and that's execution.
There's a big smile from the native of Mobile, Alabama. Coker, toss, Chubb. His longest run so far in this ballgame has been 5 yards.
He's close to the 30.
How about this young man?
Yeah, well, we kind of logged that Alabama does not throw effectively a lot of deep balls. But once they started getting successful at it, you knew it was going to be sooner or later Ridley was going to go deep.
Here's Chubb. Got a first down. Plus, that's why they love him in Georgia.
He runs right through Dylan Lee's tackle that time. Runs right through Reggie Ragland's tackle and makes a positive play out of it. And with still 3 minutes to go and one timeout, chance to put points on the board.
Chubb again nears the 49-yard line before he's tackled.
Remember, Georgia used 2 of their timeouts early in this game. Will they need them?
Second down, 7. Trailing 24-3, play action. Lambert behind Malcolm Mitchell. Whoa. For the reaction of the Georgia fans, it wasn't positive.
Well, Grayson Lambert had to get rid of that ball a little early. There was inside pressure. He could feel it. And he had to guess the throw. That's affecting the quarterback. That's what both defenses try to do. It's more than just sacks. It's taking that quarterback and moving him a half a second early to make the throw before he's ready.
He's now missed 7 of his last 8. And that one is incomplete. 8 of his last 9.
Yeah, he's guessing on that one. He did not have the player, and he anticipated a throw before he needed to, and he's very fortunate that this ball did not get picked off. It was poorly thrown. The running back and the quarterback were nowhere near on the same page, and that was a fortunate non-interception. And still plenty of time for Alabama. This has the eerie feeling of 2008, does it not?
Yes, and that was the famous blackout game. That was a number 3 Georgia against the number 8 Alabama. This one will go into the end zone, and in that game, Alabama ripped open a 31-0 lead at the half. Take you back to one of the more famous games in this series, the blackout game, 31-0 at the half. Georgia managed a couple of late touchdowns, and there are many who believe that this, in Saban's second year, was the beginning of the ascendancy of Alabama football.
Well, it's hard to argue with that. They've done pretty well since that game, haven't they?
Yeah, they have.
This is an interesting risk-reward time of the game for Alabama. I mean, you know, they have a lot of pride in their 2-minute offense. There's plenty of time with 3 timeouts. Remember the Alabama teams we've seen in the past. This is where you called for the T.J. Yeldon screen pass, remember?
Oh, yes.
And we start off those drives with kind of a jump start type play.
All 3 timeouts left. 2:23 to go before the break. First down 10.
Delay of game, offense, number 14, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Delay of game called on Coker. And when halftime is complete, or when we get to halftime, let me rephrase that. Back to New York. Adam Rick, BJ with the Geico halftime report on this critical week 5 of the 2015 college football season. Great. Bounces off the tackle. Chased. Oh, what a nice job. That's Quincy Mauger, number 20.
Since that play, so you had to delay a game on first down, and you have a loss of yards on second down. Now you'll see this Alabama team look at this clock and say, we're going to try to play some clock now. If they do anything, if they try to pick it up, I say it's going to be a screen draw type play. Very safe now.
Ridley and Mulaney go wide left. Play clock at 10. Derrick Henry across the 20.
We get another 40 seconds off. There's 90 seconds to go, so about 50 seconds will remain on the clock if Georgia can get the stop here. I guess assuming that they want to use their timeout, which I would.
Sure. Well, tough first half of Payson Lambert, hoping to get one more chance. He was involved with Bryce Ramsey in an intense competition for the Georgia starter's job before he was named to that spot. 5 on the play clock. Flag.
Darius Stewart moved that time, number 13.
False start, offense, number 13, 5-yard penalty.
You know, Vern, looking at the sideline.
Not to take the 10-second runoff. Third down.
Mark Richt.
Yeah.
Schottenheimer.
And, you know, they like to go with Ramsey at least one series in the first half. Would they bring in Bryce Ramsey right now? Very interesting call. Remember in that Vanderbilt game, it was an 0 for 5 at that point. Grayson Lambert, and they brought Ramsey in. Now, if they bring him in right now, it's an opportunity for Bryce Ramsey to put points on the board and play the second half.
Coker urging the sideline to get the play caller. Now they're fighting the play clock. 3 seconds.
Well, Alabama's got 3 timeouts. Why don't they get this over? He did. Nick Saban took a timeout. There's no need. The clock's not running. You might as well get a play called that you want. You're going to go to halftime with 3 of them if you don't.
Well, we were in Nashville when Lambert started 0-5, and he was replaced toward the end of the second quarter by Bryce Ramsey. But then he came back out and was the starting quarterback in the second half. And then he had that sensational game against South Carolina.
Bryce has got a big time arm. He's the more the downfield thrower more than Grayson Lambert. Sometimes you don't work before for Grayson to sit down a series, get reacclimated. He made some tough decisions that last drive. So I think all things considered, well, plus the big key that he's warming up.
Yeah.
We are going to see Bryce Ramsey here.
Henry.
Georgia will take their last time out, right about what we thought, 40, 50 seconds left. They have a chance either to block a punt or get the ball back. That was not a very good drive for Alabama, was it? They started off with a delay of game, and they went backward from there.
Tomorrow on CBS, Teo Leone returns with special guest star Morgan Freeman on the powerful season premiere of the hit drama Madam Secretary. Tomorrow, after 60 minutes, only CBS. J.K. Scott to punt. Isaiah Wynn is back. In his career, he has 3 punt returns for touchdowns, including 1 this season. Had trouble controlling it, then runs into his own man and is knocked down short of the 25-yard line. And he is injured.
Sure is. He had a hamstring problem at the beginning of the season that hampered him, and it looks like he's hurt that hamstring again. Turns and spins and tries to pull out of a tackle and another tackle, and at the last second he feels that hammy go again. This is now what do you do? I mean, you want to give okay, Bryce, get in there.
Yes.
Don't mess anything up, because we can't have a turnover down here. That would be a sure 3 points for Alabama. But we want to see what you can do here in 35 seconds against one of the great defenses in college football. Nobody said it'd be easy.
Well, they're going to keep it conservative. Here's Sonny Michel. He does break loose and out to the 39-yard line.
Yeah, and Georgia will ground the ball. They'll spike it here to get a huddled play.
Clock stops in college football until they change the chain on first down. There is the spike. So it'll be second down 10 with 26 seconds remaining.
That run by Sonny Michel has allowed Georgia to try to throw the ball now. I think they'll feel more comfortable about letting Bryce Ramsey throw the ball into the seams and try to pick up a situation for 3 points.
Malcolm Mitchell near side. 3 wides to the right. 4-man rush, just bull rush, and they got him. Oh, he gets away, but not very far.
Oh, John Theus, first team all SEC preseason, got run over that time. Embarrassingly so.
Ragland.
Ragland, the middle linebacker, lined up at defensive end, just ran right over a 5th-year senior offensive tackle. That's the end of that.
One of the highlights in the first half. Minkah Fitzpatrick's blocked punt. of a Georgia attempt and a 16-yard return. He blocked it, and then he picked it up and scooted into the end zone. And let's go down to Alley the Force with Mark Richt.
Coach, Grayson Lambert had a streak where 8 of his 9 passes were incompletions. What's going on out there on offense?
He's struggling. Hey, you know, we all are. They're handling us up front right now. We're not getting enough in the run game. Got a little bit of something going towards the end there, but we just got to regroup, go back to what we believe in, and keep banging away right now.
Will you consider a quarterback change?
We'll talk about it. We'll figure it out.
Jake Coker was near perfect on the other hand. How do you make it a little more difficult for him in the pocket in the second half?
Well, we got to get him in a situation where it's 3rd and long. You know, if it's 1st and down, 2nd down, play action pass, it's easier to protect and it's easier to get people over.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
You know, what I like there is when he said, you know, yes, Grayson's struggling, but we all are. And that was a truthful statement. It's not just the quarterback.
Halftime in the rain in Athens, Georgia. Alabama's up big. Let's go to Adam Zucker in our New York. Middle, huge. Henry, untouched. Touchdown. Oh, they come after it. They blocked it. Touchdown, Alabama. Rain-drenched crowd in excess of 90,000, and their dispositions, well, apparently not terribly unhappy. Nine's not too happy, I'll guarantee you that. He's facing retirement. But we have a 24-3 score. Alabama erupting in that second quarter, and memories of 2008 no doubt filtering through this stadium. That was 31-0 Alabama at that half. Damian Harris, number 34, out to the 25. Moments ago, Alley the Force with Nick Saban.
Coach, you really made that first half difficult for Grayson Lambert to the point where they ended up making a quarterback change late in the first half. How do you continue to do that in the second half?
Well, you know, we just got to keep playing good on defense. If we can create the right situations and don't let them run the ball and get in 3rd down, then we have a chance to affect the quarterback, which was the plan going in. Players did a good job of it, but we got to do it the second half. We got to do it for 60 minutes.
Your offense really seemed to catch wind in that second quarter. What changed?
Well, you know, we're doing a nice job of just doing what we can do. Running the ball, being patient, really doing a nice job of throwing the ball. Jake played really well in the first half, so we just got to keep doing that. I mean, it's a 60-minute game. This is a good football team.
Thank you, Coach.
On first down, here's Derrick Henry going to the left, and he is tackled at the 28-yard line. Well, Alabama with possession to open the third quarter. They really were exceptional in that second quarter.
I think the running play by Henry, when he busted that one, that loosened up the Alabama team. But Nick Saban, the question Ali asked Nick was right when he said Coker has been magnificent. We always talk about the other quarterback having a hot game against Alabama. How about when Alabama's quarterback has a hot game?
Jacob Coker thought he would get the start last year, and then this young man named Blake Sims had a sensational season and led Alabama to a 12-2 record. Here's Henry spilled. It'll be 3rd down. Aaron Davis, number 35, makes the tackle. And Jake Gaines was also there. 3rd down. Third down, 7. Calvin Ridley near side.
Can those edge rushers make a play for Georgia?
Coker back. Throws it at the feet of Aaron Davis. It'll be 4th down. Gary, first half trends.
Well, you just saw one of 2 incompletions that Jake Coker has thrown in the game. He was 7 for 8 in the first half. So he's had 1 drop and 1 throwaway. Grayson Lambert under much more duress, though, and I thought he did get flustered in about the middle of that second quarter. But the difference, I think, is Henry has been more effective in this game.
Henry with 80 yards on 15 carries, low snap. And Isaiah McKenzie,
out with apparent hamstring injury, so Reggie Davis is back for this one. 42-yard punt, nothing on the return. Grayson Lambert struggled in that first half, and Bryce Ramsey is going to come on and start the third quarter.
Well, and I wonder if this decision to go with Ramsey doesn't have something to do with a really big game next week. You know, Georgia can't lose this game. You never want to get embarrassed. But next week's game is all about the East. If Georgia runs the table after this game, they could face Alabama or whoever else represents the West.
Right.
So this might have to do something about next week as well.
Georgia is at Tennessee next week, and this one's intercepted. Picked off by Eddie Jackson. Jackson still running. Looks for a block, gets it. To the 5, touchdown Alabama.
Another knot.
50 yards. That deserves an oofta. My goodness.
Eddie Jackson was a corner when he came to Alabama. They moved him to safety. He may not be the most physical safety, but he sure can eat up the ball when it's in the air. He reacted brilliantly.
Griffith's extra point is up and good.
There he is right there. And in the slot, right down there. Not a very good throw. You see the safety in the middle of the hash, and you try to make a throw in the middle of the hashes. Not likely to turn out well.
Number 10 is Marlon Humphrey, who led the, 26, I'm sorry, who had the big block. Eddie Jackson goes to his right and strolls in. 50-yard interception return. It's now 31-3. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern until kickoff on CBS Sports Network, our crew breaks down everything you need to know about Week 4 on that other pregame show, only on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Griffith. Reggie Davis.
Blood in the water, isn't there? There's like sharks circling right now.
Fitzpatrick, who had a blocked punt and a 16-yard return for a touchdown.
Bern, I want you to play quarterback.
Okay, all right.
I'm thinking, like right there, there's the safety.
Okay,
right there. That's the area that you might not want to throw the ball, right?
Yes.
Right in the middle of that G. Okay?
Yes, I would agree.
Let's see where the ball's thrown. Right in the middle of that G.
Dear.
See, that's why Mark Richt, who's coached quarterbacks for a long time, said that's number one rule. You got to see him.
That was Chubb. Almost got loose for a big one.
Now you got to figure out how much he believes in Bryce Ramsey. Or is the decision that Grayson Lambert has given us everything he's got. I know what Grayson Lambert can bring. I got to see what Bryce Ramsey can give us.
On second down, this is Chubb getting to the outside, but look at him being wrapped up by Cyrus Jones, number 5.
It's not going to play in this game, probably. Okay, but I want to tell you a story about Nick Chubb a week ago. At the end of the first half, Georgia had run the ball 14 times for 35 yards. In the huddle on the first drive in the second half, Nick Chubb went off on the players in the huddle. Here's the next 4 plays. Chubb 11, Chubb 13, Chubb 11, play action pass, Chubb 9 for a touchdown. He's the leader. He's the guy they need to win in Tennessee.
At 3rd and 2, he's going to be denied the first down. So far, advantage front 7 Alabama defense.
Well, the Alabama football team believes they gave a game to Ole Miss. They looked at the stats. Ole Miss did not run the ball against them. They believe they gave them 24 points. They had 2 kickoff fumbles inside the 20 and 2 freak plays that Vern you would have said your famous phrase.
You mean in your life?
Yep.
Yeah. Certainly that bounce off the helmet was an in your life moment. Here's Cyrus Jones.
That's going to be 15.
Watch out.
And it's going to be 15 yards.
At the end of the punt return.
Yeah, I think that was Smith, number 3, that got the late hit.
Roquan Smith, number 3.
Player was down. Roquan Smith dipped his head, helmet, and shoulder pads and hit the player on the ground. We've heard the term defenseless players. Theirs was one right there.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 15 of the kicking team. 15-yard penalty, first down.
He called it on DeAndre Walker, another player.
Okay, there's
one hit. Smith gets back out.
Okay.
He's down.
Left side of the screen.
Yeah, we had a penalty called on Alabama.
No.
I'm surprised. They marched it off the other way, though. Either the officials are confused because they're calling it a penalty on Ronnie Harrison for Alabama, but they marched it off against Georgia.
Kellogg's Special K. Bud Light. And by Chick-fil-A. Well, they have not announced a correction of the penalty, but they marked it off. Here's pretty clearly number 3, Roquan Smith.
The officials can't hide either.
That's true.
We all make mistakes. I do too, but this time they made the wrong call.
Play action.
Got our Darius Stewart wide open.
Oh, does he ever? My goodness, at the 20, at the 15, blown coverage by Georgia.
It was actually the same play that Alabama hit the touchdown on. On the play to Ridley, our Darius Stewart was that open on the touchdown play. Same exact short split play, crossing route, and our Darius Stewart takes a big chunk out of the yardage.
Blitz threatened, handoff, Henry going left.
And another flag.
Yes, there is.
This Georgia team is very frustrated right now. Dominic Sanders, number 24, gets run right over on the edge, and then Kimbrough, number 42. You got 24 and 42. Frustrated Georgia team. They put a lot of emotional energy into this game.
Late hit out of bounds. Number 42 on the defense. Half the distance to the goal.
Tim Kimbrough. And he's going to make the long trot over to the Georgia bench.
Yeah, he almost knocked him from the block.
He did. Henry stays on the field. Jacob Coker. Jeremy Pruitt, defensive coordinator at Georgia, recruited him out of Mobile. Here's Henry. And he said, don't forget, this fellow was a heck of a high school basketball player of the year in Mobile.
Yeah, Jeremy Pruitt, if we could find him on the sideline, the defensive coordinator for Georgia, having a little bit of a tough day here.
Ooh.
He recruited Jacob Coker to Alabama when he was at Alabama, and he lost him to Florida State. And then he recruited Derrick Henry to Alabama, and then he left, and he's facing him today as the defensive coordinator. It's not a fun day.
No. Here's Coker. And Henry in the backfield. Play action. Coker strolls in untouched. It's all Alabama all day.
Well, Bama doesn't cover very often, but they might try to schedule a few more games here.
First visit here since 2008. It was similar in nature.
This whole Georgia staff now has to start everything they do rally this team for the Tennessee game. The pressure will be huge on Mark Richt and his team going to Knoxville next week.
Here's Coker continuing a nearly perfect day. Lane Kiffin, Nick Saban. Little happiness for the Crimson Tide. Houston Texans, Jim Nantz, Bill Sims, Tracy Wolfson, and the rest of the crew. Hope it's a little drier there. 8:25 on CBS and on the NFL Network. The rain has increased, and you can see the traffic on the pedestrian bridge. It has increased as well, as folks have decided this one's been finished. Wow. (38-3). That one's out of bounds. Well, the SEC spotlight, two big ones tonight. Ole Miss at Florida, a battle of undefeateds down in Gainesville at the Swamp. And then Mississippi State against Texas A&M. Dak Prescott having another good year. Kyle Allen leads the SEC. That game in College Station.
Yeah, he's emerging, isn't he?
Yes.
They suffered through Kyle Allen a year ago as a true freshman, and now he's emerging as a potential all-SEC quarterback.
Here's Chubb. That's his 13th carry in the ball game. Sean Dion Hamilton made the tackle. Chubb actually 14 carries, 51 yards. And again, he is in quest of his 13th consecutive 100-yard game. It would equal the record held by Herschel Walker.
Look at that Alabama.
Yes.
It's called a two gap, and what that means is the defensive linemen lurch in, push forward with their hands, and keep the offensive linemen controlled with their hands and peek around both sides. They're responsible for both sides of the offensive lineman. You got to have big, strong guys to do that. The weakness of that defense is when you play the scrambling quarterback, they don't get that pass rush. They don't have the speed from that position.
Ramsey caught and dropped by Minka Fitzpatrick, number 29, who is having a breakout game.
Yeah, he's a five-star recruit. Nick Saban has put together how many in a row?
Yes.
#1 recruiting classes in a row. This team is very deep. Minka is a true freshman out of Oak Park, New Jersey. And he's another one of those elite corners. He was one of the top 2 corners in the league. But right now, his name is escaping me. I think the other one was the corner at LSU that we started. I asked everybody in the break. Nobody can remember.
Yeah, I'm
sitting here by myself.
I'm empty too. Here's Cyrus Jones, spilled at the 43-yard line. I got nothing to help you with.
I asked everybody.
No.
Hey, it was the whole 2 weeks ago.
My gas tank is completely empty. Well, not completely. Kirby Smart, 11 years on Nick Saban's staff. Don't miss a moment of the new drama Code Black, starring Marcia Gay Harden and Luis Guzman. A new episode Wednesday after Criminal Minds, only CBS. This has become a miserable afternoon segueing into evening, especially if you are a Georgia fan. I'm thinking of two fellas I met yesterday in the Butts-Mehre Hall, the big exhibit of Georgia paraphernalia. Bruce Ayers and Paul Perry, good friends, and they live in Kailua, Hawaii.
Wow.
They made the trip. This is the first game they've been to at Sanford Stadium. So they fly from Honolulu to Atlanta. One of them is a Georgia fan, and the other is an Alabama fan.
Well, one of them's staying.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's a long way to fly to leave in the third quarter.
Oh, brother. First down 10. Blitz, Coker, tipped, incomplete. Quincy Mulger.
You got to start building this defense back one play at a time. This Georgia football team has to understand they're still in the hunt to get to Atlanta. They still can control their own destiny. It may not look pretty right now, but Jeremy Pruitt and Mark Richt must convince these players that they're playing for something as this season goes on.
Up the middle goes Derrick Henry. I think it's the perception was before this game began that this was the more critical contest for Alabama as opposed to Georgia.
I think that pretty much summarized it, because in that West, I mean, the tiebreaker goes to Ole Miss.
Right.
Then as you look at the East, the East is, I mean, think about, you know, what's going to happen if Ole Miss knocks off Florida. I mean, it's going to be the ACC. I mean, we don't have any idea who has any playing. It could be Missouri again.
Third down 8. Missouri won today against South Carolina.
They did.
Leonard Floyd and Kenyon Drake somehow. Oh, dear.
He didn't get a first down, but he showed the ability he has as an athlete. Had that horrific injury a year ago.
Yes.
You and I were even late seeing it. You know, we were watching his great catch and throw, and all of a sudden he's laying on the ground in immense pain. But look at that spin ability, balance. He catches the ball, he runs the ball. Just a great football player.
Now J.K. Scott is on to punt, and Reggie Davis. Isaiah McKenzie injured a hamstring earlier. Here's Scott. This is not a particularly effective punt, but fair catch called for and taken by Davis at the 19-yard line. Allie, are you keeping dry?
I am keeping dry, but I'm going to keep this report quick because this belt is heavy. It's called the ball out belt. It's a real WWE belt. And every time an Alabama defensive player gets a turnover, he gets to hold the belt. So Eddie Jackson has been raising this high every time the team scores, every time they celebrate, until the next player gets a turnover. I'm passing it back to him now, though. It's getting really heavy.
Okay.
So Allie's been down there to watch Miss Georgia crowned in the belt.
Yes.
A lot of hardware down there.
First down 10. Here's Ramsey. Right flat. Whoa. Oh, ho, ho. Cyrus Jones was up there on Sony Michel, daring him to make the catch.
Yeah, on this play, Alabama was in a zone defense, and Bryce thought it was man-to-man. Actually, it was a combo. One of the things that Alabama does really well, they pass off those inside crossing routes, and they switch and look for somebody else. You have to really understand what you're doing when you're throwing against those combo coverages.
Ramsey, right side, dropped. Malcolm Mitchell this time. You know, Gary, there's a perception about this Georgia team, forged in recent years, that if there is a pothole in the road, they will drive into it. And we're seeing it again. I mean, the expectation's so high. Last year they opened against Clemson, lost the next week to South Carolina. In 13, they won against LSU. 2 weeks later, lose to Missouri. In 07, they won at Alabama and then lost to Tennessee 2 weeks later. That perception is not going to be, oh my gosh, what a catch, Malcolm Mitchell.
Very dangerous throw, but he put it in the one spot that Mitchell could adjust to and Alabama could not get to. He lobbed it up. That's against two deep safeties like this. It's a dangerous throw, but it was put in the perfect spot, and what a great reaction by Malcolm Mitchell. He's actually been on fire in this game. His effort has been outstanding. His routes have been outstanding. He may be Georgia's best player.
Here's the toss. This is Sony Michel. Breaks a tackle. Down the sideline. Carries an Alabama defender, Eddie Jackson, for an extra 5 yards.
You know, interestingly, 2 years ago when Georgia was recruiting Sony Michel and Nick Chubb, it was actually Michel that was the more highly sought-after player. He was the 5-star, and Chubb was the 4-star.
Here's Michel. Woo! Oh, look at him make the defender miss. Yeah. My goodness, that was Geno Matthias Smith. Michel out.
Yep, number 24 to the left side of the screen. Watch this. Bang. Right by him. Wilton. Put him on his knees with that move.
Chubb is back on the field for the game now 15 carries, 52 yards. Second down, 10. Blitz. Ramsey batted down. Second time today. This is Jaron Reed, number 90.
The defensive line bats down a lot of passes. I talked about it. They actually lead the country in passes broke down. They've had 13 by the defensive line coming into this game, and they have 2 already in the game. One is that you try to throw quick against them, and when you throw short, but the other is they use the bull rush, and they have an opportunity to see when the quarterback's going to throw.
Ramsey into the corner.
Good coverage. Wow.
Intercepted.
Wow.
That's 2 for Ramsey in this half. Marlon Humphrey, number 26, picked it off.
Can't, and he gets the belt, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that.
Eddie Jackson's telling him, turn around. You could hear Eddie Jackson. Well, you couldn't hear him, but you could see him yelling for Humphrey to turn around. Ball, ball, ball. Humphrey is in perfect phase. He bobbled it, and it looks like he held on to it for a turnover. So Jackson helps his partner and turns over the belt to Humphrey. That is called being in phase, as Kirby Smart likes to teach it. You're in the hip of the receiver, and you turn around and push with your butt, and he did it perfectly.
As if we needed it, the rain has increased. Here's Derrick Henry, stiff arm on Leonard Floyd. Mauger comes up and makes the tackle.
Unbelievable. Leonard Fournette, Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, 3 monsters in this league that run the ball and run it effectively. Derrick Henry, he reminds me the most in the style of Leonard Fournette. Huge, stiff arm, straight ahead runner, punishes him. You know this Alabama team, Vern? Remember 2 years ago after losing, last year after losing to Ole Miss?
Right.
2 weeks later, they beat Texas A&M 59-0.
I remember, we were there.
Well, it's been 2 weeks since they lost to Ole Miss again.
Yes.
And it's 38-3.
They
have responded.
It's not operating properly. Time will be kept on the field by the side judge. The time left in the third quarter is 5 minutes and 38 seconds.
I also think back to 2010 when they lost that game to Cam Newton, in that famous game when
Sure.
Cam came back. They had that huge lead against Auburn, came back and lost it. They destroyed Michigan State in the bowl game, and they went on a 2-year run, 2011 and 2012, when they just clearly were the best team in football. LSU was there with them, I understand that, but they went on a run. Could that loss to Ole Miss spur on another run?
Here's the handoff. It's Henry. Nice. Even nicer.
There's a lot of Alabama people wanting to know why Alabama doesn't run the ball like that, because he could be a beast from that position.
That's a 15-yard gain.
Yeah, and then when you do that, O.J. Howard gets a little chip block there. You get a little block you get a little run like that, and all of a sudden those play-action passes start to open up all over the field. Lane Kiffin obviously doing a great job. And a lot of people saying, wow, when things get rough, it wouldn't be bad to give the ball to number 2.
Dominic Sanders, the safety, is the injured player for Georgia, number 24.
Again, you're a safety, you're a corner, you're coming up taking on these 240-pound running backs. You can see Sanders' right arm almost went dead there as he's running and following the play. Give him credit, though. He took it on.
Well, the start of the season.
Yeah, that's the way I like to look at it. Is everybody controls their own destiny, Vernon. We don't need a committee. They can stay home. If the undefeated Big Ten champ, they're going to be #1 in the country. The undefeated SEC champ will be the number 2 seed. The undefeated Pac-12 champ will be the 3rd seed. I'm thinking that the winner of the Notre Dame-Clemson game will be the 4th seed, but I'm wavering a little bit.
Are you now?
Yeah, because that TCU win, it's
yeah.
Okay, they can meet for the last pick. I'll let them do that.
Here's Ridley on the wide receiver end around. Quincy Mauger made the tackle. Uh-oh. Oh, he's okay. This guy's thinking, I paid money for this. At the end of the play, here's, oh boy.
Yeah, he was close to a horse collar, but he did not pull him back.
Coker, 10 of 13, 188.
Yes, 1 drop, 1 throw away, basically, right?
Yes.
Oh, the game ran.
Whistles.
Well, that's the 3rd time or 4th time in this game. Now, they've had some success, obviously. 4th time in this game, Alabama's tried to hurry up and run a play, and it didn't work. I need a little practice on that end.
False start. Offense. Number 3. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
That was Ridley. Well, Alabama losing with 5 turnovers 2 weeks ago to Ole Miss at home. They're going to have Arkansas next week and then at Texas A&M.
Right.
Tennessee and a fairly big game against LSU. And the clock is being kept on the field, but we have it correct. There's 4:39 left. Reasonably close.
Fumbled it, and Georgia's got the ball. Jake Gaines has got it.
Yes, indeed.
That was a quarterback center exchange, and it bounced right to him. One of the offensive linemen, as they're pulling, kicks the ball forward when you drop the snap. And Jake Gaines says, whoa, I got it. Is that a new quarterback in the game? I did not see. Was that Cooper? Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Oh,
back
Grayson
in
Lambert's
the game.
back.
Grayson
Yeah.
Lambert
Yep.
was being told that it was a new quarterback. I thought that was Jake Coker. So they got Lambert back in the game here.
Well, Bryce Ramsey threw 2 interceptions. Up the middle. Oh, dear. Wow.
Yeah.
Geno Matias-Smith.
Yes, part of a slip, though, as Nick Chubb tried to make one more move. His feet come out from under him, and then Matias-Smith in. See how he slips? It looked worse than it was.
Boom. And we're keeping the numbers on Nick Chubb. He's now 16 carries for 60 yards. Gary mentioned last week he had 30-some at the halftime and then exploded. And that might be enough for a first down. Let's go to Adam Zucker in our New York studio for an Advocare update. All right, Adam, thank you. First down 10 here.
Can I put my chart back up for a second? Tweak it.
Lambert on first down, nothing. It was Chubb.
Better have some balance and some efficiency in the passing game to beat Alabama. If you're one hand, you can only dribble to the right, and you only can run the ball, you're in trouble. I believe if you can only throw the ball, you're in trouble. You have to bring a balanced attack to be in. There's another fumbled snap. And there's a new guy that has a belt.
Yep. Pass it around.
It's probably raining as hard as it has all game right now.
Yeah. Ryan Anderson recovered it.
Shot on the snap.
And Hunter Long was in the game for Cablano that time as the center.
the belt. Moved around. First down 10. Derrick Henry. And let's check in with Allie LaForce.
Thank you, Vern. Derek Sanders was in so much pain when he came to the sideline. It was definitely his right shoulder. The athletic training staff felt around inside of it. They brought him over to the trainers, raised his arms in the air, and they pushed down on his arms, and he had to push back up. He slowly made progress and felt good enough to go back in. He's on the sidelines now, and he's ready to play.
That's good news. Second down. And we're told by Hubert Owens 2:10 remaining in the third quarter. Again, the clock not operating in the stadium. Henry hit from behind and then double teamed after the initial contact. It's Tim Kimbrough who's there, number 42, and Jake Gaines, number 51.
Well, I hate to say it, but Alabama's starting to look at this clock and saying, whoever's keeping score, make sure you keep it running because we want to go home.
Yes.
They don't want to get anybody hurt. They know they got this one, and they now look at their schedule. And Coach Saban understands. Remember, they are one game behind. They go home to play Arkansas. Now, that looked like a legit game, okay? And maybe Arkansas wins tonight. Home Arkansas, and then at Texas A&M. Texas A&M has, I think, the best schedule in the SEC West this year, with the home games at the right time.
There's Henry trying to get around the left side. He does not for very much.
Then they have an off week, and then we'll be there. Well, we might be there. Then LSU comes to town. I guess it's still up in the air.
We might. Fourth down.
So there's still plenty that could happen in this game. I'll tell you, there's another one in this thing that you might not want to sleep on. And this is, I think, a team that has been getting better and better. Mississippi State. A little late.
Yeah, well, on cue, the rain subsides. Here's the punt. Scott. Out of bounds at the 33. Flag back at the line of scrimmage, or very close to it. Well, in your life, you suggested. So take a look at this. The miracles that have beaten Bama.
Yeah, a lot of plays that were improbable. Johnny Manziel, the 57-yard field goal attempt with 1 second.
That led to Chris Davis's 109 return, and a scene unlike any other that we've seen. But here's the most improbable.
There's another improbable last week or 2 weeks ago against Ole Miss that kind of took the heart out of Alabama. They thought they had a big play, and all of a sudden the other way. So the question was, and a lot of people were talking about it, you know, Alabama would have no excuses against Georgia. There's nothing fancy about Georgia. They come right at you. And if they couldn't stop this fade, this type of a team, when could they? And there he goes.
Here's Chubb, and he's going to go over 100 for the 13th consecutive game. Congratulations, Nick Chubb. 83 yards.
Wow. I did have the feeling, did you not, that Alabama was just thinking this game is over. Get me out of here. I don't want to play hard anymore. I don't want to get hurt. They let their guard down for one play. They don't take the right gap. Georgia blocks it perfectly, and Chubbs keeps his streak alive.
That was an 83-yard run for the sophomore. High snap. Nice hold by Fatone Bauta, and Marshall Morgan knocks it home. Nick Chubb. Tacks on the 83-yarder. He's now got 146 and 1 touchdown. Right here on CBS. Damian Harris, number 34, tackled at the 30-yard line. Jonathan Abraham.
Well, Hunter Long does a good job, the new center in the game right there, but I think Reggie Ragland is the guy that really didn't fill the gap the proper way. He got caught up. He really didn't get blocked at all. He just got caught up in the trash and never got to the right spot to make the tackle. And again, when you rest, when you just take a play off, that's what can happen.
That is the end of 3. Alabama still leads by a bunch. We'll return to Athens right after this message and a word from your local station. And we welcome you back to Sanford Stadium. Some guys are enjoying this despite the score. Well, I don't know. There are probably 10 lines, and I'm not going to utter any of them.
No. 2 guys next to him had beat Georgia, so they obviously have to be Alabama fans.
Here's Coker.
Much though.
No. Tackle made on the short pass. Kimbrough again. Well, what's to be learned so far? I expected a more definitive answer than that.
Recruit well, hold on to the ball, know who your quarterback is, be pretty efficient with the quarterback position.
I'm just thinking, I remember a coach in the SEC, we asked him, what's the key for success? He said, find a quarterback.
Yeah, I think that may be true. I thought the teams that really handled Alabama, they had great play from the quarterback. I thought that Lambert had to go 17 for 23.
Right.
They're 8 for 23 with 2 interceptions. You know, that not going to get it done.
No.
I mean, it's not going to get it done. It has to be Steven Garcia, Trevor Knight. The edge of the elite quarterbacks is what gives this Alabama team, whether it goes hurry up, no huddle or not, you have to be efficient from that quarterback position.
Coker has had a terrific game. He's 11 of 14. Play action. Deep right side. Man open for the moment. The pass is a little too far to the right. Intended for O.J. Howard.
Yeah, probably his worst throw of the game. He put way too much air on it. He had a 6'5" guy that was wide open. Would have been an easy first down. Kind of floated that ball out there. That one needed to be kind of put a little mustard on it.
And that brings on J.K. Scott. Reggie Davis is back to return it.
I'd love to have a good fourth quarter from his Georgia team going to Tennessee next week. We just love it. To show something, some life.
That's another poor punt by Scott. That's out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Early moments, final quarter. Alabama 38-10.
For our Geico game recap.
I will take you back to the first half. Nick Chubb was held in check in the first half, only 39 rushing yards. His counterpart for Alabama, however, this touchdown untouched. That made the score 10-3 on a 30-yarder. Here's one of the key plays in the game. Minkah Fitzpatrick blocks the punt, then picks it up and goes in for 16 yards. Ridley, a 45-yard touchdown reception, 24-3. And then Eddie Jackson, overthrow by Bryce Ramsey, 50 yards on the interception return. That runs it out to 31-3. Jacob Coker, 2 yards untouched, 38-3. And then Nick Chubb does go 83. That extends his consecutive game streak to 13 of rushing for 100 yards or more. And that ties Herschel Walker. And for the day, well, you toss in that 83-yarder, and that's the part that gives Chubb the edge. But
you know, as visiting with Kirby Smart, it's so fun to talk to him. He's got such life. He's matched up against Brian Schottenheimer in this game. Get this, Kirby Smart watched every game tape the last 2 years of the St. Louis Cardinals. NFL football.
Really?
Watched every play of the last 2 years of him as offensive coordinator for the St. Louis Rams.
Some of us.
St. Louis Rams.
Well, you got baseball in your mind. I understand. Malcolm Mitchell, boy. He wound up to heave it, and Mitchell was well covered downfield.
St. Louis Cardinals. All right. I'm taking my mind off the game, too.
Gosh, I've never been there.
Second time. There was a question going into this game. I was asked which quarterback handled the rain better, and I go, I don't know. You can't know until you watch. Well, Lambert struggled with the wet ball. That's the second time that's happened.
Well, Lambert, second down 19 after the 9-yard loss. That's Chubb. Picked up. It was whistled dead. Reuben Foster. But the whistle had blown. So
I think Ryan Anderson is the guy that made the play on the edge. Takes on a blocker, comes off, and the ball is, yeah, that's a good call. That ball was down right there. No gain, 3rd and long.
Third down, 19. Down the middle, deep, incomplete. 4th down. Intended for Jackson Harris. Lambert now 7 of 18. Ramsey 1 of 6. And we talked at the beginning, Gary, about would a quarterback take ownership of his team? Well, it's pretty obvious that the guy with the white jersey and number 14 has done just that.
Well, I think the Alabama coaches and Lane Kiffin, we asked him about it last night. Do you regret going with a different quarterback in that big game? You remember they came out with Cooper Bateman, and he said, absolutely not. It really woke up Jake Coker. Now, these things can be rewritten in arrears. I get that. But Lane and the staff is saying, you know, Jake needed a kind of a kick in the butt. And he came out and finally played with passion in the second half against Ole Miss. And it's carried over. They may have a quarterback as they go for this SEC West Championship again.
The Home Depot SEC on CBS is sponsored by Auto Trader. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Sonic. And by. Now, a lot of conversation about do they deserve number 1.
It doesn't matter. You only got to be number 4. We learned that last year. Right?
Of course.
There's no home field advantage.
Well, these folks are enjoying themselves. Ryan Kelly over the ball. Derrick Henry is the running back. There's a flag thrown. Free play. Coker lets it go. Ridley, too far.
He's got an arm, though, doesn't he? That ball was a good 50-some yards from one hash across the field. Talking to everybody, they said, listen, Jake's got a cannon.
Defense, number 97, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
I think on this one, Jake Coker knew he had a free play, and he just was going to go for it all. He was doing an Aaron Rodgers. He watched a little bit of Aaron Rodgers when he keeps trying to yank him off sides and then take the free play. He does have a gun.
Now 11:15 for 190. First down 5. Henry.
Boy, Timmy Kimbrough is having a game, isn't he? He is tackling everybody. He's having a good football game.
Yes. Coming up, the play of the game presented by Napa Auto Parts. We will get together probably during a commercial break, and it'll be a unanimous decision. I'm sure. Or dictatorship may come into play. You never quite know how these things work. 2nd down and 4.
Well, Derrick Henry has 25 rush attempts now, and you wonder when you want to get him out of the football game. A lot of football ahead for Alabama.
Here's Henry.
Not yet.
Nope. Does not get the block. Ridley forgot about that part of it.
Well, basically this game is over. What I'm thinking more is it's a long season. You don't want to get him nicked. You don't want him to take a lot of hits. But you can see the ability he has from that pistol formation. It's the kind of the best of both worlds. You kind of go I formation with a little bit of a shotgun snap for Jake. It looks like Jake Coker's very comfortable getting the shotgun snap. It's actually a little easier to do the shotgun snap in the rainy weather than it is to go under center. Because a wet ball is just hard to handle for that snap.
This is Damian Harris, number 34.
You know, the shotgun, you just kind of flick it back. You don't have to put anything on it. Just go throw it back a few feet.
Second down, no gain. And the clock nearing the 10-minute mark.
Interesting. Remember when Alabama used to use a lot of 3-tackle formations back a couple years ago? They are starting to implement that a little bit. Number 89, tight end, is actually Brandon Green, a tackle. He's playing tight end, but it's really 3 tackles in the game.
Coker kept it.
Interesting call.
Sure is.
Or did
Expose
he miss
your
the
quarterback?
handoff?
What do you think?
He might have missed the handoff. I'm going to say he missed the handoff. Yeah, that just seemed weird. Why would you want to do that? As long as he gets up and he's okay, it's no big deal. It's just a risky play. It's one of those ones where nobody says anything unless you get hurt. And everybody goes, what are you doing?
What are you thinking?
Yeah. As Butch Jones found out, I was like, okay, kick an extra point. And all of a sudden, the end of the game is like, what?
Well, they hold Damian Harris. Sterling Bailey made the stop. And it'll be 4th down.
You know who really hasn't, we haven't called his name much this game, is Leonard Floyd. I mean, he's one of the elite players in the game. I think he's got 4 tackles. He's lining up all over the field, but I just wonder if they don't kind of try to figure out a way for him to find a spot on the edge and let him go there. When he's in this linebacker spot in the middle, it doesn't seem like he's making a big impact.
Well, 4th down 3. And
maybe he's nicked. Because he has not been, usually we do a game and Leonard Floyd's all over.
yes, play action. Rush coming. Pass is incomplete. It'll go over on downs. Intended for O.J. Howard. Lambert back in. Sony Michel, the running back. We've not seen Keith Marshall nor Brendan Douglas today. Here's Michel. Greg Pike leading the way. Well, Georgia, Gary's talked about it already. They've got now what is a huge game next week at Tennessee. We'll be there. 3:30 start in Knoxville. Then Missouri at home, open date. And the annual battle in Jacksonville against Florida.
Definitely doable. I think Florida is not a vintage Florida team. They have signs that they're showing that they're improving, but I mean, it's not a vintage team. I mean, if Georgia believes who they thought they were coming into this game, that's a schedule they should be able still to impose their will and make a run at Atlanta. That's where they got to get. They got to get back to Atlanta and get another shot at this thing.
Well, they won 2 SEC championships between 2001 and 2005 under Mark Richt. It has been 10 years since they won the championship, and of course we all remember 2012 when they faced this Alabama team and came within a tip pass of taking the lead. There's another tip pass.
Another batted ball. Yep.
Yeah.
What's that? Maybe the fourth.
I think it is the fourth. Yes, Jonathan Allen got this one.
And it's exactly what happened. The batted pass on that play.
It's that bull rush.
Yes, it was. Just jump up and Williams gets it. I think it was 56 that got it.
Yes, Tim Williams.
And Georgia really has had one play in the second. And he drives.
That's right. And that was an 83-yard run where.
Well, they had one punt. One punt.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Cyrus Jones. Whoa. Watch me make him miss. Roquan Smith. That's the gaze of an unhappy man. In Athens, and let's take a look at our AT&T strong performance.
Well, I think it's going to be Calvin Ridley, number 3, the true freshman wide receiver that really came up big for Alabama. This was that early play, kind of a deep, quick screen, hit him right in the seam, and this is the touchdown play. Very well schemed. It's Ridley again playing that X receiver position. It goes right down the middle. But on this play, I want to show you something. Remember I told you later on that touchdown play, our Darius Stewart was open? Somebody saw it on the touchdown play. They said, by the way, Stewart was wide open. You could come back to that and throw it to somebody else. That's good work by somebody up in the press box. Not those people right there, but somebody up in the press box that saw that. And that's how you really craft a game plan together. Take one play that's successful and you build something off of it.
On first down 10, we have 7:06 remaining. Kenyon Drake is in the backfield. Gets the toss. Good night. Jordan Jenkins, that's one of the first times we've called his name today.
We met with Jordan Jenkins on Friday, and he was so looking forward to this game. He's been, talk about him turning pro a year ago. He said, I wanted to come back. One of the games I wanted to play in was this one right here, and it didn't turn out the way he wanted it, but he is a strong football player. Vern, I do want to talk about, they finally have gotten Henry out of the game, but I like that they keep Jake Coker in. I don't know about running plays. The one worry about Jake Coker from the coaching staff with Alabama is he's not played a lot of football in his career. He's been on teams, but he's not played. Remember the message that Nick gave Allie starting the second half. It's a 60-minute game, and I think he's thinking Jake Coker needs every minute of experience he can get as the season goes on.
Flag on the play.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense, number 37. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. That's number 37, first unsportsmanlike conduct foul.
That's Devin Bowman, number 37.
That's right here is where it happened. It's locked up, and then just one more. I'll bet there's one more. Yeah. Since it happened one play before with Jordan Jenkins, I wouldn't be surprised if the officials told everybody, cut it out. And the next guy we see that happening, we're going to throw a flag in. It would not be. I've heard that before.
Yep.
And I used to always stop.
First down 10. Under 6 remaining. Damian Harris gets the carry.
Harris, the ball carrier.
Well, I can't say that this game will mean nothing because the Georgia fans, they're not going to forget this game. That's right. I mean, a beatdown like this will be remembered. However, It can be set aside if Georgia does finish it off. If Georgia loses again and doesn't make it, this will be a huge loss for the Georgia program.
Second down 6. Play action. Yeah, please. And let's check in with Adam Zucker back in New York. And they will play in some rain, Adam, right? Yep. It's going to be torrential, we are told, in Clemson. Well, some folks are very loyal, and they're going to stick this out.
By the way, Vern, I don't think that was a called quarterback run. I think he missed the handoff. He's got a young back in, and it just didn't mesh up well, and he just decided to keep it.
There's Damian Harris again. Well, both star running backs well over 100 yards. Derrick Henry with 148. Nick Chubb got 83 of his 146 on a second half run. For Henry, that's a career high. Both number of carries and number of yards.
Well, I really do believe that that's what should happen for this Alabama team. I don't mind what they do. I don't mind if they shotgun. I don't care, but Derrick Henry has to touch the ball 25 times.
There you go. Second down 10. Harris gets a good block. Michael Nicewander. Well, our crew will move up to Knoxville, Tennessee next week. Georgia at Tennessee. And this becomes huge for both teams.
Vern, if Tennessee doesn't win tonight, I'm letting you do all the questioning in the meetings next week, okay?
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Oh, my God. I don't want to go in there.
Oh, dear.
I'm not rooting for or against anybody, but I got to tell you, when you walk into these places, if Tennessee does it, I think there's more pressure on Tennessee to win at home tonight than any team in the SEC this week.
Do you now?
Yep.
Well, they lost to Oklahoma at home with a 17-3 lead. They lost. There's Coker running again. You think it's another missed handoff?
Nope. That one was called.
Okay. My next question would be why? Just.
You've had some tough questions this game.
I am. I'm really.
You're on your game.
Becoming a taskmaster. 10 years in the same canoe, and I'm finally. 4th down 5. And they're kind of in that no man's land. You know, they're too far out.
No, they weren't trying to field goal.
No.
They've been in that no man's land with this game being over for 15 minutes.
I know
That's what the no man's land has been.
4th and 5. It will go over on downs to the Georgia Bulldogs. Jordan Jenkins makes the tackle. Well, we were talking just a moment ago about what a big game this was for him. He was recruited by both Alabama and Georgia. Parts play of the game. This is with the score 10-3. Colin Barber to punt. And untouched, Minka Fitzpatrick, the freshman. Let's take another listen. Here's Eli Gold.
A bit of a high snap. Pressure. Picked up Alabama. Minka Fitzpatrick. Touchdown, Alabama. Touchdown, Alabama. Minka Fitzpatrick on the punt block.
That made the score 17-3, and Alabama rolling after that. Now we've got 2:10 to go. This is Keith Marshall.
So what do you do if you're Mark Richt? You know, you came into this game, your quarterback was hot, 44 for 49. Didn't happen. You bring in the backup guy who you really like. He goes 1 for 6 with 2 interceptions. I'm wondering if Fatan Bata, remember, the number 3 guy, told us it was hair thin between the 3 of them, and he brings another dimension of running to the attack at that position. I think everything's alive now for Georgia. Everything's alive.
First down 10. That one's caught by Reggie Davis. And a reminder that we'll go back to New York for the Dodge post-game show on this week 5 of the 2015 college football season. Second down and 6 here.
And they've got to win the next 2 weeks. I mean, they don't really have a bye for 3 more weeks to make it. So they're going to have to make, if they want to make changes, they're going to have to make them on the fly.
Do you expect it, or you just?
No, I think he'll probably go with Lambert. I mean, that would be in my inclination. That as he told Allie at halftime, Mark Richt did, that we all got beat here.
Lambert intercepted.
New belt.
Picked off by Ronnie Harrison. He's looking for block. Oh my goodness, that looked like a wrestling hold. Greg Pike. But Harrison with the interception, and Lambert very slow. Getting up, very slow.
Tell you, Fatone Bauta better be ready to play football next week. This was incredible coverage by the Alabama secondary at that time. After you throw it, you got to try to stop it. He got his right leg bent underneath him. It looked like as the ball carrier changed, but watch the coverage on the receiver here. Take it away, spin, take it away again, and then the safety cut in front of it. Wow, that's how you play that quarter defense that Alabama's so good at. Cut inside of it, and Ronnie Harrison was reading the quarterback's eyes the whole way. So you play bump and run, you react, and the safeties eat it up. Beautiful.
4th turnover by Georgia today. Cooper Bateman is the quarterback now for Alabama, so Coker will get a rest. Bateman did get the start in that Ole Miss game, which resulted in a loss at home. Bo Scarborough's on the field. Suspended the first 4 games of the year, ACL in the spring, and Scarborough wearing number 9. You see that brace on the right knee. Another highly recruited running back. First action of the year.
Yeah, he's Eddie Lacy big, and it's taken him a year to, he's had that problem. Took him a year to get acclimated to this thing, and he might be the next big one.
Well, that's going to do it. Jacob Coker, 11 of 16 for 190.
Oh, you see that? Nick Saban go over and shake the hand of his quarterback. Did he find one?
I think the answer was yes. Just a moment ago, Nick Saban
sought him out, didn't he, before he went across the field to shake hands with Mark Richt.
Alabama rolls. They jumped out 24-3, and they win it 38-10. Next Saturday, our group moves into Knoxville. There's the big play of the game. Minka Fitzpatrick for Gary Danielson and Allie LaForce. I'm Vern Lundquist saying so long from Athens. Our final score, Alabama wins it 38-10. Dodge postgame shows up next after these messages and a word from your local station.